Ah, they thought they won. They thought they had beaten you. Huh? They saw you in your darkest hour and they believed that was the end of the story. They laughed, mocked, and ridiculed, thinking they had you cornered. But here's the truth. They never understood what you're made of. They never saw the fire within you, waiting to burn bright again. They thought it was over, but they were wrong. It wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something they would never be prepared for. You weren't defeated. You weren't finished. You were simply waiting for the right moment. They thought they broke you, but what they didn't see was the quiet power growing inside you. You were not crumbling under pressure. You were building resilience. You were not wallowing in despair. You were silently gathering strength. They mistook your stillness for weakness, but that was their first mistake. See, when they saw you stumble, when they saw you lose, they assumed it was all over. But what they didn't realize is that your struggle wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of your determination to rise. They thought they could break you with their words, their actions, their judgments. But what they didn't realize is that their attempts to break you were merely strengthening you. They pushed you to the edge, but they never realized that when you hit rock bottom, that was the place where you would build your foundation for the most incredible comeback. And then, when the time was right, you rose. It wasn't just a return. It wasn't just a simple comeback. No. You came back with vengeance. You came back like a force of nature, unstoppable and unrelenting. You came back in a way that left them speechless, staring in disbelief at the strength you had cultivated in the shadows. They thought they had won, but what they didn't understand is that you were never meant to stay down. They underestimated you. They thought you would fade into the background, that you would simply accept defeat and move on. But you're not the type to just move on. You're not the type to roll over and let life push you around. They thought they had seen the last of you, but they had no idea what you were capable of. And here's the thing about comebacks. They are never about proving other people wrong. It's not about seeking revenge or validation. No. Your comeback is about proving one thing and one thing only. That you are the one in control of your story. That you are the one who gets to decide when the story ends and when it continues. Your comeback wasn't just a response to the world's doubts. It wasn't just a way to show them they were wrong. It was your way of reclaiming your power. It was your way of taking back what was always yours. They thought they could take it from you. Your confidence, your will, your strength. But they were wrong. They thought they had seen the end of your story, but you were just getting started. Because here's the truth. When you fall, you don't stay down. And when you come back, it's not just a return to the status quo. When you come back with vengeance, you come back as a new version of yourself. You come back stronger, smarter, and more focused than ever before. They saw you at your lowest, but they never saw you at your highest. They thought they had you figured out, but they couldn't have been more wrong. The reality is that in your moments of struggle, you were never truly broken. You were simply being reshaped. You were being refined, tested, and hardened. You were forging yourself into someone who could withstand any challenge, no matter how great. And when you finally rose again, it wasn't just a physical comeback. It was a mental, emotional, and spiritual comeback. It wasn't about the world seeing you as strong. It was about you seeing yourself as strong. It wasn't about showing them that you could come back. It was about showing yourself that you were capable of far more than they ever imagined. You had to remind yourself that they couldn't define you. You had to remind yourself that the only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. And that's when they saw it. When you came back, it wasn't just a simple return to the field. It wasn't just about picking up the pieces and going back to the way things were. No, you came back as a force to be reckoned with. You came back with a vengeance, with an intensity that they couldn't understand. The intensity of someone who had been pushed to their limits, who had been broken down to their core, and yet had come out the other side stronger than ever before. You weren't just fighting for yourself anymore. You were fighting for every person who had ever been doubted, for every person who had ever been told they couldn't, for everyone who had ever been told they were too weak, too slow, too small, too whatever. Your comeback was their victory too. It wasn't just about you taking back what was yours. It was about showing the world that you could be knocked down, but you could never be defeated. They thought they had broken you. They thought they had stolen your strength. But they missed something. They missed the power of your spirit. They missed the fact that your true strength wasn't in your body. It wasn't in your possessions or your accolades. Your true strength was in your mind, your ability to keep going when everyone else expected you to stop, your ability to rise again, no matter how many times you fell. And when you came back with vengeance, you showed them exactly what that power looked like. Your comeback wasn't about seeking approval. It wasn't about getting revenge. It wasn't about showing anyone how wrong they were. It was about showing them how right you are. You are unstoppable. You are invincible. And you are the only one who can define your success. They didn't see it coming. They thought they won. They thought they had crushed your spirit. But when you rose, when you came back with vengeance, they realized that the battle had only just begun, and they were on the losing side. The truth is, when people think they've beaten you, when they think they've broken you, that's when you are at your strongest. That's when you show them who you really are. Because when they think they've already won, that's when you strike. And when you strike, it's not just about winning the battle, it's about changing the entire game. So, when they look at you now, when they see your success, your strength, and your power, they'll understand. They'll understand that they never truly defeated you. They'll understand that you never needed them to validate your worth. Because when you came back with vengeance. And now, they'll never forget the lesson you taught them. You can't break someone who has already decided to rise. They thought they won. They thought they had defeated you. But you came back with a vengeance. And now, the world is yours to conquer. You see, the moment you came back, they thought you'd be the same. They thought you'd be the person they left behind, beaten, broken, lost. But the truth was, you had changed. You weren't the same person anymore. You were someone new, someone more dangerous. You had been forged in the flames of adversity, and now you stood before them, stronger, wiser, and unshakable. You had learned the most valuable lesson of all. The power doesn't lie in what they think of you. The power is in what you think of yourself. The power is in your resilience, your drive, your ability to push forward, no matter what. They had forgotten that. They had forgotten the strength that lies in the depths of struggle. They had underestimated your potential for growth. They thought the weight of the world would crush you, but instead, it had made you into the person you were meant to become. As they watched you rise, you could almost see the confusion in their eyes. It was as if they couldn't comprehend how someone who had fallen so far could rise again with such a force. They thought their words, their actions, their mockery would be enough to keep you down. But what they didn't realize is that your fight wasn't about responding to them. It was about responding to your own inner strength. You weren't fighting for their approval. You weren't fighting for validation. You were fighting for yourself, for your belief in your own worth, for your future. And that was something they could never take from you. Now this is where the game changes. They thought they won, but in reality, they were simply the catalysts for your transformation. They thought they had broken you, but they didn't realize that you were never meant to break. You were meant to evolve. Every setback, every disappointment, every struggle, it wasn't a mark of failure. It was a lesson in resilience, a lesson in what you could overcome. And when you came back with vengeance, you didn't just return to the world they thought they could defeat. No, you returned to a world that was now your canvas. Your comeback was a masterpiece in motion, painting a picture of determination, grit, and relentless spirit. They thought you would fade into the background. They thought they had erased your name from the record books. But when you returned, it was with the roar of a lion, louder, prouder, and more powerful than ever before. They had been watching, waiting, and hoping that you'd crumble, that you'd give in to the pressure. But when they saw you stand up, rise from the ashes, and begin to outshine them in every way, that was when the real power was revealed. That was when they knew the truth. You could never be silenced. You could never be defeated. They thought they had won the battle, but they had no idea that they had only set the stage for the greatest comeback the world had ever seen. You came back with such force that it shook everything around you. The world that once seemed like it was against you was now in awe of your strength, your growth, your ability to rise. They had thought they were the ones who would dictate your future. But in reality, it was always in your hands. You just had to realize it. You had to come to terms with the power that lived inside of you. And when you did, it was like a spark igniting a wildfire. Nothing could stop you. No one could hold you back. And that's the difference between a regular comeback and one fueled by vengeance. When you come back for revenge, you're not just returning to prove something to others. You're returning to prove something to yourself. To show yourself that the world can knock you down 100 times, but it can never keep you down. You're not here to beg for validation. You're not here to get back what they took from you. No, you're here to redefine what's possible, to rewrite the rules, and to set a new standard for who you are and what you can achieve. The vengeance you seek isn't about revenge against individuals. It's revenge against the limitations that have been imposed on you. It's revenge against the self-doubt, the fear, the insecurity that you've been carrying for far too long. It's revenge against the voices that told you you can't and you won't. It's your moment to say, watch me rise above. Watch me prove every single one of you wrong. But here's the real truth that they'll never understand. The real vengeance is not in your success. It's not in the victories you rack up, the achievements you claim. It's in the peace you find within yourself. It's in the satisfaction of knowing that you didn't need anyone's approval to rise. You didn't need anyone's validation to thrive. You did it for you. You did it because you knew, deep down, that you were always capable of so much more. They thought they had broken you. They thought they had worn you down. But the real power isn't in winning. It's in rising. The real power isn't in showing them that you're better. It's in showing yourself that you're unstoppable. And when you rise, when you come back with vengeance, you are no longer fighting against them. You are fighting for yourself. You are fighting to become the best version of you that you could possibly be. When you rise, you send a message that echoes through the universe. A message to everyone who has ever been knocked down. A message to everyone who has ever been told they can't. A message to everyone who has ever been made to feel like they're not enough. You rise to show them that you are enough, that you are more than enough. You rise to remind them that no matter what they say, you get to decide your future. You get to decide your worth. The vengeance you seek is not in getting even. It's in getting better. It's in getting stronger. It's in showing the world that they can never define you. They can try to break you. They can try to control you. But they'll never succeed. Because when you come back with vengeance, you are coming back as a force of nature. You are coming back with everything you've learned, everything you've endured, and everything you've overcome. And as you step into your new chapter, as you show the world the power of your comeback, you'll realize that the only thing that truly matters is this: you are unstoppable. You are undeniable. You are the living proof that no matter how many times you're knocked down, you can always rise. And when you rise with the vengeance of someone who has found their true power. So, let them watch. Let them doubt. Let them laugh and mock. Because in the end, it's you who will have the last word. You who will stand tall in the face of adversity. And when you do, the world will bow down to the force that you've become. They thought they won, but you came back with vengeance. And now, nothing will ever be the same.